You've got to call.
Paul, don't be mad at me. Please don't be mad. I can't leave my family. I can't leave my friends. I'm sorry, Paul.
I should have been thinking more about myself.
Thinking about yourself? I'm 5 inches tall!
The movie Downsizing, starring Matt Damon and Kristen Wiig, is new this week on Blu-ray and DVD. It's a movie about people shrinking their debt by shrinking their bodies so they can live in a teeny tiny world called Leisureland. Some major Hollywood magic is involved in the shrinking of people on screen and creating that miniaturized world like Leisureland. And I talked with the visual effects supervisor on the movie to learn some of his secrets. The miniaturization of people in movies has had quite a history, all the way going back to the 30s with The Bride of Frankenstein. So how long did you study this process before you embarked on this new adventure working on Downsizing?
Well, we did a lot of homework. Alexander Payne, the director, and I, we went back decades to the 30s, like you mentioned, even earlier, and we looked at this long history of small people in movies, and we were looking at it not only for how they did it and what techniques they used, but just dramatically how it worked. And we really came to the conclusion that Downsizing was something new and fresh. It was a new way of looking at this genre. You know, a lot of the movies were science fiction or comedies or family movies, and Downsizing was something different. So for us, we had to think about designing our effects and designing our shots so that they didn't take the place of the story, but rather they supported it. So we were looking at our work really as how do we help tell this story versus how do we draw attention to our visual effects. So it was a really fun challenge sort of philosophically as well as technically to make this work happen.
Most of us have never been on a movie set.
Sure.
When you're working on this movie, are you there with Matt Damon and Kristen Wiig during the scenes, or are you working on it post-production, building in special effects?
We in visual effects, and particularly what I do as supervisor, we're on the movie from start to finish. We'll come on the movie even before the actors are involved and start to figure out what the screenplay says and how we're going to do it. And then, yes, we're right there alongside the directors, cinematographer, the production designer, the actors, right there on set to help them. And particularly in a movie like this, where you've got a small person on a green screen stage who's going to be composited into a shot with a big person. Well, when we're shooting that actor who's meant to play the small person, there's nobody there. So we would do things like put a big face made of tape up on a stand so that the person would have something to look at. We would help them with their dialogue, their eye lines, help them with the lighting so that they really understand and feel grounded with what they're doing so they can give the best performance they can. So yeah, we're right there. And then after all the work is filmed, we go on to the editing process. We put the shots together, we cut them in, we see how they're working, we refine them right up until the movie's done.
Is this the toughest film you've worked on?
This film was a really unique challenge for us because of some of what I was saying before. It's not really a visual effects movie. So one of the things that we had to do was to figure out how to make our work just blend in like a regular movie, but still achieve the reality necessary so you could buy into the story. And particularly with Alexander's style, he's a very classical filmmaker. He doesn't move the camera a lot, he doesn't cut very often, and so that meant our shots had a lot of scrutiny, a really high level of scrutiny by the audience, really staring at these effects, so we knew they had to be great.
And you may have recognized Jason Sudeikis also in the footage because he stars in the movie as well, Kansas City native Jason Sudeikis. Some of Jamie Price's other notable visual effects can be seen in Air Force One, Enemy of the State, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and RoboCop. Very impressive resume.